Hello, and welcome to episode 208 of Rivers Arcade Review. My name is Ed. My channel is dedicated to the coin-operated video games of yesteryear, which I'll be continuing a review from a few weeks ago. I'll once again be reviewing a game from my past, Namco Classic Collection Vol.1. Namco Classic Collection Vol.1 was released in 1995 by Namco. My first time playing this game was at Funway Entertainment Center in Batavia, Illinois. A quick once-over, Namco Classic Collection Vol.1 is a multi-game cabinet in which you control your ship or character with an 8-way joystick and 2 buttons, with each game using the buttons differently. The cabinet offers 7 games in all. These games include Galaga, Xevious, Super Xevious, as well as Mappy. Also included are the arrangement versions of Galaga, Xevious, and Mappy. The arrangement versions of the games are a complete re-release of the originals, offering many new things including a 2-player simultaneous mode. Due to the many changes of the arrangement versions, I will only be covering one of the games per video. For this video, I'll be covering Xevious Arrangement. Xevious Arrangement is a shooter game in which you control a ship called a solid view with an 8-way joystick and 2 buttons, one to fire and one to drop bombs. This game plays the same as Xevious, which I reviewed in episode 101 with the exception of the following changes. The first difference is this is a 2-player simultaneous game. Player 1 will control the silver and blue ship, and player 2 will control the gold and red ship. Pushing the A button will cause you to fire forward, and pushing the B button will cause you to drop a bomb where your target is at the time when you press the button. Just like Galaga Arrangement, player 2 may play alone. Gameplay will begin with your ship flying at the bottom of the playfield. You'll find yourself flying over a wooded area and you will immediately come upon the spinning rings. These enemies can easily be destroyed by your shots. Once you leave the forest area, you'll begin to see the ground enemies. These enemies will include small pyramids named Bara and small domes named Logram. These enemies will shoot at you. To destroy these enemies, you need to drop bombs on them. A new enemy will begin appearing, which is a Y-shaped ship named Borses. These enemies will fly around the playfield and shoot at you. These enemies can be destroyed by your shots. After these enemies, you'll come across a new enemy which looks like 5 Lograms connected in a cross-shaped pattern. This enemy is called Boza Logram. To destroy these enemies, you need to bomb the center portion, although you can destroy each section separately. The next new enemy you'll face will be a tank named Yokomika Gorba. These enemies will move around the playfield. You need to drop a bomb on these enemies to defeat them, although because they continue to move, you need to shoot ahead of the tank, so it will be there when the bomb arrives. The next item you will face will be the power-up core. Dropping a bomb on this core will release a power-up item. You need to move your ship over this item to collect it. Collecting this item will increase your firepower to 4 shots as opposed to 2. If you collect the power-up item while you have increased shots, you will earn a 2,000 point bonus, and this bonus will double each time you collect that bonus item until you reach a maximum of 64,000 points. After these enemies, you will enter a wooded area which will begin Area 2. The next new enemy will be another round-shaped enemy called Leah. This enemy will move across the ground roads. Just like the previous ground enemies, you must drop a bomb on them, although since they are moving, you need to drop the bomb slightly ahead of them. The next new enemy will also be a ground enemy, which is cross-shaped with a glowing dot in the center. These enemies are named Frosser. These enemies will fire shots at your ship. You will also need to bomb these enemies just like the other ground targets. After those enemies, you will begin Area 3, which will bring the spinning plates that will move toward the bottom of the playfield. Just like in the original version, these plates are indestructible, although now there is a twist. After about 20 seconds, these plates will stop and begin moving upward, creating a new challenge. You will now need to beware of incoming plates from the bottom of the playfield. After these enemies, you will enter Area 4 where you will face more of the same enemies you faced earlier. After about 30 seconds of fighting these enemies, you'll come upon a giant ship called Kamushi and/or Genesis. This ship will be the boss for the first 4 areas of the game. Once the bottom of the ship reaches the halfway point of the playfield, it will come to rest. Your traditional shots will fly over the ship, so you will need to use your bombs. There are only 5 positions of the ship that are vulnerable to your bombs, although you need to bomb the center section to destroy the ship, although hitting the other 4 positions will award you extra points. If you don't defeat the ship within about 5 seconds, 4 spinning mines will emerge from the ship. These mines will rotate around the ship for about 20 seconds before exploding. You can use your bombs to destroy these mines for extra points. The entire time you are battling the ship, black bombs will emerge and fly at your ship. You can shoot these enemies for extra points. If you don't destroy the bombs after about 30 seconds, it will fly upward off the playfield. Whether you destroy the ship or it escapes, you will enter Area 5, although the beginning of Area 5 is the same place no matter if you destroy the ship or it escapes. For this area you will battle more of the same enemies as before, although there will be a new pyramid-shaped enemy called Edel. These enemies must be bombed since regular shots won't affect them. Area 6 will bring you to an old enemy with a new twist. The rotating steel plates will now move side to side, making it harder to avoid them. Other than the steel plates, there will be no new enemies. Area 7 will bring no new enemies, although you'll face those from before, although they will be faster and in greater numbers. Stage 8 will have no new enemies until you reach the end of the stage, where you will come upon a new enemy called Galaga and Genesis. There will be 3 of these enemy ships at the top of the playfield. Once they appear, you'll need to drop a bomb in the portion of the bottom of the ship to destroy it. The entire time you battle these ships, they will fire shots at you. These shots cannot be destroyed by your shots or bombs. If you don't destroy these ships within 30 seconds, they will escape. Once you destroy the ships or they escape, you will advance to Area 9. Area 9 will begin with more of the previous enemies, although now you will be bombarded by a new enemy called Hakai Kanudan. These enemies will be small circular enemies that will fly quickly around the playfield. You can shoot these enemies not only for extra points, but to safely pass through the barrage. Next you'll face another new enemy, which is a star-shaped enemy called Frosser. These enemies will fly down the playfield, then pause and fire at your ship. This will happen several times before retreating off screen. You can shoot these enemies with your regular shots. Areas 10 and 11 will bring no new enemies, although the enemies you will face will be faster and in greater numbers. For Area 12, you will face several bosses before facing Kubu and/or Genesis, which is a giant diamond-shaped ship. This is the boss ship for this area. This ship will have 4 launchways. Enemy ships will launch from these areas during the battle. This ship can't be destroyed with your traditional shots and can only be affected by your bombs, although there are only 5 areas that are vulnerable. You can shoot the outer 4 areas for extra points. Only shooting the center area will cause the destruction of the ship, although you will only receive the points for shooting the center area if the other areas haven't been hit. If you don't destroy the ship within about 25 seconds, it will fly off the screen and you will continue on without earning the points. After you either destroy the ship or it escapes, you will face even more and faster enemies from earlier in the game. After these enemies, you will enter Area 13. After fighting more of these same enemies as before, you will come upon a new enemy, which is a black sphere with a red circle in it called Enzatko. Once this enemy reaches the center of the playfield, it will explode into 16 smaller bits. You must avoid these bits because they are invulnerable. Areas 14 and 15 will contain more of the same enemies you faced earlier, although once again they'll be faster and in greater numbers. Area 16 will contain even more enemies you faced earlier until you reach the same boss you faced in Area 4. Immediately, the giant mines will leave the corners of the ship and begin rotating around the ship. The entire time they are rotating around the ship, they will fire shots at you. Just like before, you can only defeat these mines with bombs. You need to shoot the center of the ship to destroy it like you did earlier. This ship will escape if you don't defeat it in about 35 seconds. Once you defeat this boss, you will face the final boss, which is a giant ship called Senkin and/or Genesis. This ship will only have 6 ports that are vulnerable to your bombs. You need to bomb the center port of each side to destroy it, although you can shoot the upper and lower ports for extra points. Once you destroy the mothership, you'll get the message you have cleared all areas, and you will receive a Salavu bonus of 600,000 points for each extra life remaining, and a 10,000 point bonus for each Sal you find. Just a reminder that Sals are hidden towers that can be uncovered by your bombs. After the bonus was awarded, you will get the ending credits screen. Unlike the other arrangement games that I have or will cover in the future, Xevious Arrangement has 3 extra areas after the credit screen. You'll get the message, "Welcome to the extra areas." You'll immediately begin facing even faster enemies than before, as well as a new one, which is a multicolored T-shaped enemy called Garusperio. These enemies will attack in a downward angular attack pattern. You can destroy these enemies with your regular shots. After the Hakai Kanudan enemies, you'll begin being attacked by another new bug-shaped enemy called Brazi. These enemies will emerge from the ground, then fire at your ship, then exit the playfield. You can defeat these enemies with your regular shots. Once you reach the end of Area 1, you'll get the message, "Wonderful, you completed the extra Area 1 and will receive a bonus of 300,000 points, and you will fly off the screen to the top and your ship will appear on a black screen. You'll still be able to fire your weapons, although there will be no scenery or enemies. I believe this is an emulation glitch." Scoring for the game is as follows. The original enemy scores are the same and are covered in the original video, episode 101. The new enemy scoring is as follows. You'll earn 10 points for each Hakai Kanudan, 50 points for each Garospeiro, 1,000 points for each power-up core, 1,200 points for each Durako and Edel, and 1,300 points for each Leia. You'll earn between 200 and 1,000 points for each Yokomuki Gorbda, between 250 and 400 points for each Frosher, and between 300 and 600 points for each Enzako. The boss strip scoring is as follows. You will earn 1,200 points for each Argo port and 6,000 points for the core. For each Kogata and/or Genesis, you'll earn 3,000 points. For the Kubu and/or Genesis, you'll earn 1,200 points for each port and 8,000 points for the core. And for the Senkin and/or, you will earn 1,200 points for each port and 5,000 points for the power core. I wasn't a big fan of this game, although I did enjoy the fact that this game allowed you to continue, whereas the original one didn't. I like this game more than the original Xevious, but not as much as Wild Western, so Xevious Arrangement flies its way into the 173rd position overall. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any games you'd like me to review, please leave a message below or on my homepage. Please remember to hit like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned to new videos on the first and third Sunday of the month.